And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast, where we endeavor to bring you the joy and excitement of UofL women's athletics. Certainly would like to start this morning by saying happy fourth weekend to all you listening out there and to my compatriots here on the show with me today as we almost have a full house. Cases up in the Madison area of Indiana, sitting on the banks of the Ohio River drinking alcohol and watching boats turn left for this weekend. So we miss him, but I'm sure he's having a good time and doesn't miss us one bit as he's doing that. But hey, we got Jeff in here. We got Daryl in here today. We got Jared in here today along with me. So we'll have some fun with this foursome as we go through the various things that have taken place this weekend the world of Cardinal athletics and beyond a bit too as well. So as we like to kind of start it out, let's just catch up with everybody real quick. Jared Anderson, who's going to base his gubernatorial campaign on raising the speed limit to 85 miles an hour on the interstates. It's an interesting move, Jared.
Raise some speed limits. Let's really increase some public transportation, like we were talking about before the show. Let's get people able to move around town a little bit better and get the 25 mile per hour drivers off the interstates while they hold up traffic and create a dangerous driving condition for everybody else.
I can see it in some areas maybe, but certainly not in areas that are heavily traveled because you still have that doddering old grandmother who's going to go 50 miles an hour and do it in the fast lane, which can cause problems.
Some of those people are just stuck on their ways, hard headed. Gotta let them go until they cause a big accident one day. But we'll see. But then also you got the idiots who can't drive in the rain or the snow. So there's also that.
And I've ridden with Jeff and Daryl. I've ridden with Jared before, and if he keeps it at double digits, it's amazing because
on the
he
highway.
can definitely push that needle all the way to triples, okay, with no problem whatsoever, and have a lot of fun in doing that. I've never ridden with Daryl before. I did ride briefly with Jeff one time, who has a vehicle that can go very, very fast, very, very quickly.
Yeah,
And but
but
Daryl,
but
how are you, Daryl? It says Daryl on this. How are you on the interstates? Are you a speed demon or?
It depends. So my dad taught me to drive for one. So I definitely inherited his road rage, and people in the fast lane going 55 drive me crazy. And I I have a friend who is guilty of this. And I've given him the talk
does he live in
where he'll
Ohio?
get he will get on the expressway, and the first thing he does is cut across four lanes to get over the fast lane, and it's not even necessary. And I've had to talk with him like, why did we just immediately go over here? I don't know what it is, but I think they're taught that. And he thinks he's the pace car, so he'll go 75, Jared, and me and you are going 85, and he thinks he's dictating this drive, and it drives me crazy. So I've had to talk with him about that. He's done better since then, but it's the grannies. We got to talk to our grannies and get those people out of the fast lane, because we can all do 85 if everybody's doing 85, but not with Granny in the front not paying attention to
Well,
anything.
don't forget, Kentucky does have a driving law where the far left lane is for passing only. So even if you are speeding and somebody else is going faster than you, by law, you're required to get over and let them pass. Now, if they
You
get
don't have
pulled
to
over
tell
for
me.
going faster, that's up to them. And these semi trucks who think that the left lane belongs to them, oh, get out of here. Go hop in one of the right lanes and stay out of our way.
Yeah, they screw up everything. And then you get the
I'm
folks
kidding.
that literally love to just drive right next to a semi, so no
Oh,
one can pass. It's a great time.
Yep.
that's just a bad idea for them.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
wants to sit next to a semi?
and a blind spot of a semi at that.
Try
That's
and get
just
past semis as quick as possible.
yeah. Well,
I think it's a control thing. They just want to control everyone behind them.
Yeah, I used to liken it to being the head of a parade where the front driver going 50 in a 65 mile an hour zone that nobody can get around thinks he's leading the parade. And if anybody passes him, it's sacrilege. Because, hey, I'm the front of the parade. You all follow me. Okay? So it sounds like we got a good consensus here of people who do like to go fast on the interstates, and that's very important, I think,
Yeah.
especially
Got
if Jared's
places to
behind the
be,
wheel.
Paul.
That's right. I know, and it's got to be especially rough from you, you know, trying to get all the way from Schnitzelburg down to UofL. No interstate to mess with. My goodness, Daryl, how do you do it?
Yeah, I live about a softball throw from all of my jobs.
I was gonna. Well, but you have 17 of them, so you know.
Well, yeah, they all just go a different direction, but
Right.
about a mile from each one.
Oh,
You see anybody zipping by Dairy Dale at 80 miles an hour on the highway, or she'll
Get out of my
it is
way.
Daryl.
We'll toss an ice cream cone as you drive by.
yeah.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. Oof. So yeah, I know Jeff can go from 0 to 60 like in 2 seconds, and he's
Yeah, but I don't usually.
Jeff doesn't have to drive his car. His car drives itself.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I've got the little bit of not a full autopilot, but a partial autopilot on the car, and I will point this out. It will not let me set the speed faster than the cruise control faster than 90 miles an hour on the interstate, and I usually don't do that because there's a significant drop in efficiency as you get beyond about 75 or 80. So I'm usually kind of picking that about that speed. And on surface streets, it won't let you set it more than 5 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. And it actually reads speed limit signs to enforce that. So I'm the guy on Taylorsville Road going past Bowman Field at 40 miles an hour. So because the speed limit is 35 and no one realizes it.
And I get a lot of people who will pass me and then immediately hit the brake because I drive a 2014 Taurus, which looks like it could be an undercover police vehicle.
Yeah.
And I've also got a FOP bumper sticker on the back, so these guys who are going, 85 like Jared see that and say, "Oh my God, it's an undercover!" And they immediately slow down. Then they take a look inside and see me there with my long hair and my sunglasses on. I'm like, nah, it's okay, let's go.
I have my rules for speeding that I'll have to make that list sometime for you.
As we wane into the summer months, perhaps you could make an article out of it as well one day, yes.
Someday he's going to finish his season recaps. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a
We'll
mark.
get there. Like
Yeah,
every time I want to
it's in
finish it off,
August.
we have something pop up.
August project.
You have those, late week write-ups, and I've got this Sunday write-up that it's like, okay, let's talk about the WNBA and the NWSL every week because they're going on. Which I love that because I love supporting our cards and the pros. But yeah, it's like, well, at least I know what I'm going to write about all the time.
There you go. Yeah, you get that path solved.
Yep.
And we got, of course, Daryl in with us again today as she gave us some definite opinions on NIL in her Friday article, and very well written, by the way, Darren. We got some nice response on that too from some of our readership. So NIL is okay by you, eh?
It's gonna have to be now, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm thinking that's going to be the lay of the land now.
Been looking at just some of the things that players have been doing. Jared tipped me off to a few people to check out, like the gymnast down at LSU. I mean, if you Google her, you can see why she has so many followers. Not even have to look at her talent, but that was another thing that worried me about women in this time not being able to profit like the men just because of video game world. But with Instagram and getting likes and followers, that's going to be huge for the female athletes. And a couple other players also just kind of started towing that line, like Samuel Williamson for the men's basketball, that he posted a video or a picture of him in his favorite restaurant around town, just kind of giving some credit and trying to get people to get out there. And I get that, and that makes sense to me. If they say, hey, we'll give you $300 to promo our chicken and get people to come out, that seems reasonable to me. Or they'll say, we'll give you free chicken while you're here. that seems all right. But I know I touched on it in the article. It's inevitable that it's gonna get. I don't want to say it's going to get out of control, but it's going to get out of control. Players are going to be hearing from boosters themselves saying, come to my school, and this is, you'll get a taste of what life will be like. And, I hope it doesn't, prove to be bad for U of L. And I also don't want U of L to be part of the problem. So it's just, it's gonna get kind of murky these next couple years. Us four here in Case as well, we want players to come here because they want to be here. They want to be a part of U of L. They're not here for the money, is what I hope. But, we're just getting into a time where, that's kind of the truth, is people are looking for paychecks. And I'm not saying these players don't deserve a paycheck. I'm just saying I hope it's not the only reason. And I did see the comments. They're very nice.
I do hope that it doesn't turn into a thing where you have a certain athlete on a squad that is trying to mention UPS or Humana or Ford in her post-game interview. She's like, well, the folks at UPS really helped me set this up because they got me my stuff so fast, and they're such a great service. But yeah, I did have 20 points in the second half. I was thinking about UPS the whole time, how quick they are.
Yeah. I suspect the schools will put the kibosh on that fairly quickly.
I would certainly hope so, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, I would. But hey, we're already 12 minutes in, and Jared hasn't even done any Twitter yet. I don't think there's anything on scheduling, is there, sir? But since Case is I'll let you go into that.
Tied for scheduling for U of L. You'll start to see some of the student athletes pop up on campus here and there again as they start workouts and practices and whatnot, because we are really only about a month and a half away from the fall sports season when you think about it. So time to get those student athletes back on campus. Really exciting. I think we're all ready for the more normal feel of a fall season, although I don't think it'll be a fully normal what we were used to pre-COVID. But moving on to Twitter, Case, who was absent today after seeing how well Jeff and I did with the mascot quiz last week and backed out on it. He's out there cheering on some left-hand turns right now. So he's enjoying himself on this beautiful weekend. He does tweet out his best case scenario, BST. Daryl, who is back with us again. We're happy to have Daryl back. Does tweet out as Daryl Faust 4. Jeff, who's running all the tech stuff behind the scenes right now, tweets out as Jeff McAdams. And once we see the fall sports season, the volleyball season pick up, you'll see more of the at Card Couple Radio Twitter account get active. Paulie tweets out as Cardinal Couple. He'll start getting more active too once we see the fall sports season start up. And then myself as Mr. Anderson Jared, mostly just been tweeting about our speed limits and public transportation, on top of sharing some pictures and videos from shoots I've done recently.
All right, well done, sir. And I think that one of the things I was going to kind of mention here a little bit on in regards to broadcasting in general that we do here is that Jeff was filling me in on some details pre-show about some changes we'll be making here that he's going to explain to us now.
Well, hopefully, yeah. So, some peek behind the curtains a little bit of Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast production. Yeah, so we do this by all of us getting on a Skype call right now. And Skype has been around for many, many years, and it's a very solid service. And it works, and it's not bad. And we're not getting paid to promote them, but it's what we've used. It's fine. It's free. It's great. Okay. What we found, Case and I have found, and we played a little bit with this week. It's called, it's a service called OBS Ninja, and I think they're renaming it to VDO Ninja now. But it works a little. It's a similar sort of thing where you can get on calls and have multi-person calls and stuff, but it works a little differently under the hood. And specifically, what it's going to allow us to do, and us particularly being Case and I, is to get individual audio feeds from every participant of this call. right now I have on my computer, I have control over like the volume and settings of my mic because it's directly attached to my computer, and the rest of the crew coming across this Skype call as a single item. So I have basically two controls. So OBS Ninja or Video Ninja will allow me then to have 5 controls. I'll have my mic. I'll have a feed from Jared. I'll have a feed from Daryl. I'll have a feed from Case. I'll have a feed from Paul that I can hopefully balance out a little better and get a little better volume management and maybe mute some noisy things that happen. And Case will be able to do the same when he records it and then is able to produce it into the podcast form posted later. He'll be able to balance those and adjust noises and mute noisy things in the background from individual feeds a little better. So that's our goal. We still have some technical things to work out. We want to do some trial runs with as much of the crew as possible on the call, make sure everybody can get connected, make sure we have all the audio going where it's supposed to, and have our setups done and ready to go, so we're not scrambling on a Saturday morning to do it. So that's the plan.
And it does sound ambitious. It does sound like it's going to be very progressive and fun. And Jeff told me it might even be simpler than getting on Skype.
I'm hopeful because this new system is completely web-based. It all runs in a web browser. So it should just be a matter of click on a link and connect and off we go, which is rather than, firing up a Skype app or whatever. So.
Let me ask you this: are there any buttons that can be pushed in this? Because I'd like to work Daryl into this somehow if I could.
So there, it does have. They relatively recently. It's OBS Ninja Video Ninja is created by a guy named Steve Seguin. I think is how you pronounce his name. Seguin is how you spell it. He's out of Toronto, Canada, and he has recently added a MIDI support to it. You can actually send MIDI events for like music making. And that can also apparently be used to control like a Stream Deck type of thing where you have buttons to push to control what happens in audio video productions. Kind of like, a cheaper version, less sophisticated version of what Daryl's working with in the ACC Network Studio, I'm sure. So there is some capability to do that. I haven't explored it, so.
I think if you're going to
everything is button pushing related.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, in some way.
Technically, my day
Well, Daryl,
job.
if you want to come take pictures, you can press the button on the camera and take
That's right.
pictures.
See? And then you go home and upload it to a computer where you push buttons to edit it.
Yeah. And writing software is pushing a bunch of buttons on a keyboard in the right order,
And then you text Katie just pushing her buttons.
I push her buttons every day.
There you go. Well, I've been known to unbutton before, so there you are. But, going to games, I push buttons to get on the elevator and get off the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely push Coach Wallace's buttons at times. That's sometimes not a good thing, but anyway.
Sometimes you might think you're pushing 2 buttons and you're actually pushing 3.
You're absolutely correct. Yes, I've been known to do that before. So, I pushed a button on my recorder. So, we're going to have some fun with that. We'll see what develops into it. And I'm certainly excited to see how this transpires as we go on into it. But we've got some good things to talk about as we get into the kind of meat and bones of the show today. First off, we have the Directors' Cup results that each year the universities around our great land here compete to see who can win the Directors' Cup. And just what exactly is that? That's how you do an overall sports total. Directors' Cup standings have been released for this year, and the big winner was the University of Texas, the Longhorns, took the top spot of the 293 schools that participate in the Directors' Cup. They beat second place Stanford, just under 60 points in this total. So those two schools who are very competitive in a lot of different sports. Your top two, our own Louisville Cardinals final score was locked in pretty much when they failed to make the College World Series, guys. But their spot in the standings ended up being in 40th place as they finished with 532 points, tied with California. So our little city compared with the whole state of California in that. Tell us a little bit more about this Director's Cup, Jared. What makes things happen well for a school? They do well on things, and what kind of is deterrent for them?
Yeah, a lot of it's going to be based off of how well you do during the season, qualifying for the postseason, and then where you do finish overall with however your postseason may be set up, whether it's special events or a tournament and so forth. In this case, we saw a lot of teams that kind of underperformed this year, including baseball and men's basketball and football, who all failed to make their respective postseasons, earning 0 points. All three of those are ones that UofL typically earns points in. Women's basketball, field hockey, men's swim and dive, and volleyball were kind of your top point scorers here. Women's basketball finished 6th overall in terms of the rankings there with your points. Looking down, men's swim and dive finished 5th, field hockey 3rd, volleyball 11th. So those were kind of your higher point scores, and you had some others that came in pretty well. Women's swim and dive got quite a few points. Men's golf, lacrosse, although they didn't make the NCAA tournament, they did finish ranked, which was enough to earn them just a couple of points in there, not really doing too much. I thought UofL was sitting pretty well, at least on the women's side, finishing up the winter sports. And then when you got to the spring sports, there wasn't really much. Lacrosse earned a couple points. Women's golf got very few just because of Lauren Hartledge. Softball didn't earn anything, and I don't think outdoor track and field earned any points. Neither did indoor women's track and field. So that was kind of a killer. And then just overall the men's sports had a really down year. You're going to have your down years. You'll have your up years. UofL's typically been consistent with being one of the better teams in terms of the Director's Cup. So we'll take this year with a grain of salt because of the whole COVID thing. Because they did post some of the recent years. Back in the 2018-19 season, UofL was 35th. Prior to that, 30th, 26th. You're seeing a lot of top 30 finishes for UofL, which is way better than what they were finishing when this first started back in the mid-1990s, where UofL is constantly in like the 100s. So we've seen a really solid increase. Just this year was a rough year. Go on and move past it and work ahead. Looking forward to the next season.
I don't know what, Daryl. When I think of this Director's Cup here, and Jeff too on this, I know it's supposed to be an encompassing overall kind of register ranking on how a school does in all kinds of sports, see who's the best. But I don't necessarily think of Texas as a powerhouse in anything. Stanford, I don't think maybe is a powerhouse of anything, except maybe women's basketball because they did win the national championship. But is this Director's Cup for you all something that you all put a lot of stock and faith in?
I think it's interesting to see, in like Stanford, they may not be the top in too many sports, but they're always good in everything, right? And I think you end up racking a lot of Director's Cup points up when you're doing that. It helps that they participate in just about every sport the NCAA offers, which helps as well, particularly on the women's side. And I think that's where they tend to get a lot of big advancements on their rankings in the Director's Cup. Texas usually has a few sports that they're pretty good at. They're certainly a very good volleyball team, so they make points on that. They're decent at basketball. They've got a pretty good football team, so I hear. It's not surprising.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was just
no,
gonna piggyback off of Jeff. I feel like Texas and Stanford are both, in those conversations in many sports. I can't remember how they finished, but wasn't Stanford pretty prominent in the softball world too in recent years?
I think they've
I
had
believe they've had
some
some good
success.
teams,
Yeah.
Yeah, so Stanford and Texas are just two of those programs where produce winning teams in the postseason, and then they also get a bunch of alumni in the boards and the ESPN world who make these decisions for them too. So I just think that they've got alumni on their side.
Well, that's always a good thing to have. You can get that alumni up there. When I think of Texas, I just primarily think of football. When I think of Stanford, I think of how they beat us in women's basketball. But there you have it. Um, Directors Cup. I guess it'll be around for another year. Maybe we can do better than 40th next year. We'll see. Got some news that broke just the other day about field hockey, where Jared informed me that the Cardinals' star scorer and attacking forward Mercedes Pastor will not be back next year. She's going to be headed to Belgium, of all places, not to make waffles, but to play professional field hockey. So, kind of a surprising move here, Jared.
Yeah, I think it kind of caught us off guard when we all seemed to think that she'd be returning for the fall, and then kind of her not really an announcement as much as just kind of letting a few people know here and there, like, hey, just a heads up, I'm not going to be coming back. But she is at the point where she's in grad school working on a master's degree still with the Speed School of Engineering. She's been working on campus over at the First building, which is right there across the street from the softball stadium, if you're familiar with campus. But the opportunity to go ahead and play professionally overseas with Belgium, that's a hard opportunity to pass up, because one, you're making money, and she's probably going to make a lot more money playing professional field hockey than what she could with an IL here in the United States, when field hockey is not really a sport that would be considered overly popular compared to your bigger sports. But I mean, I think the fact that she's going to be working on a master's degree while playing professional field hockey in itself is quite an accomplishment. So excited for her. We'll miss her on the field, on the pitch, whatever you do want to call field hockey's turf there this fall, and we'll see how the team does. But certainly an exciting time for Mercedes Pastor.
Absolutely so, and we are going to endeavor to try and get a interview with her. She's expressed interest in such. We certainly have as well, so we can kind of talk with her about what lays ahead. We'll talk a little bit about the past and talk about her love for this community that she's had. Hey, Daryl, who's playing for Canada in the Olympics this year? Could it possibly be? Let me think. Is it Liz Dixon? No. Is it? Could it possibly be Haley Van Lith? No. It's Marissa Russell. What's going on here? She's going to Tokyo?
I believe she's the only Canadian player on our team, right, Paul?
As far as I know.
Yeah, so that was an awesome honor for her. I know when we were we got her commitment, that was I think she was on the U19 or U18 or 19 team. So she's definitely been in this realm for a while now. Isn't that where she kind of got familiar with Coach Walls, playing against him since he was coaching?
Pretty sure it was, indeed.
Yeah.
I think it was. That's where he found out about her, and she found out about him, and the two decided that they would form a friendship, and she would come here. But that's a pretty good thing for, I think, a college student athlete to be able to go to Tokyo and participate in the Olympics like that. How's it going to work with her game here at Louisville? I mean, we didn't see a lot of her, quite honestly, last year. Saw some stretches. What is it going to do for her?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of her, but what we did see was pretty promising, I think. I don't have her numbers right in front of me or her minutes that she did give to us, but her size was what stood out to me the most. And, you know, America's got the best, and I say America, that includes in Canada, has the best basketball in the world. So she's going to be among some of the best competition. And anytime you can get a college player on one of these rosters, it's really good for them, because not only is she going to get better with world competition. She's going to get better with her own teammates, with playing against some of the best in Canada, and obviously a lot of these players come to America and play in colleges, so she's going to get familiar with some. I'm sure with some competition in the ACC, some other conferences, and it's just going to help the team in the regular season and then in the postseason.
Jeff, I have to wonder. Well, she does go do this, and let's say she's going to be, I think, the fourth alternate on this Olympic team. Does it really move her up much in the cadre of guards that the Cards have got coming back, though? I mean, you've got some pretty decent guards out there. When you look at the Smiths, you take a look at what you've got going on with Haley Van Lith. You've got a very good one with Peyton Verhulst coming in. Casa Robinson's back. You've got Rika Kono. How much does this raise How much does it raise Marissa's stock in the Cardinal camp?
Yeah, like most things like this, it's a great honor, absolutely, and I cheer her on, and think it's fantastic. I don't think the inherent nature of being on the squad and being in Tokyo will do anything for her. However, this presents opportunities for her. Any sort of international competition, external competition like this gives these players the opportunity to play and practice and work in a different environment, work with different coaches, learn more, learn different approaches to things. Anybody's going to tell you, if you talk to two different teachers teaching the same subject, they're going to hit on different things, and you can learn more if you're listening to both of them than if you only listen to one. So there's definitely some opportunities. There's practice opportunities. There's playing against top caliber players in the process of doing this. That's going to help her get better. So yeah, I think in the long run, yes, it helps her. It raises her profile. It raises her capability overall. I don't think it comes from just inherently traveling to Japan and returning. But certainly the opportunities that are presented as being able to be part of this type of program are great. And, maybe it gives her and Narika something to talk about a little bit more and help form a bond as two players together, too. So,
Great point.
Yeah, good point indeed. And you got to wonder why Narika isn't playing for the Japanese team. But anyway, that's something beside the point. We did also find out about basketball. The Cardinals have received a verbal commitment from Amani Lester for the 2022 season, as the Cards have got this very, very good basketball player that's coming in out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who played in a school at Raleigh, North Carolina, and the Cards beat out a host of Carolina schools in addition to some other pretty good players too in UConn and others to get Amani Lester, another one of these girls that's a kind of a 6'2", 6'3" girl that can play multiple positions. Jared, is Jeff Walls kind of starting to gravitate and go toward this? You take a look at what he did with Verhulst. He's got some others coming in that are about the same like this. What's going on here? She looks like she could be a keeper.
Yeah, sometimes you realize you've got to be flexible and kind of change your style with the way that the sport changes. And you're starting to see that women's basketball, there's a lot more growing and taller young women that are out there that can play multiple positions. They may be over 6 foot, but they know how to dribble. They know how to take a deep shot, with the pull-up jumper. And he's starting to adapt and adjust to that, as we've seen where UConn has had success with that. Stanford's had success with that. So he's trying to be able to remain competitive. It's still nice to have your attack Yorkies, some of your smaller, quicker, more agile players, which will work fantastic on defense, as we've seen with Dana Evans and Makasa Robinson last year. It looks like we did beat out some really top-notch schools here. I see UConn was listed up there, Florida State was listed up there, NC State was listed up there, and several other ACC schools. So the fact that we were able to kind of steal her from right under the nose, especially seeing as her father was a graduate of NC State, it's kind of nice to be able to steal one from some of the other big dogs up there and just be like, hey, don't forget, we're we're big dogs here too, and we'll run right with you, and we'll kick your butt when we need to.
And Daryl, you got to look at this as well. She will be coming into U of L along with Alexa Mobley, the incredible
Yeah.
ball player
I was
out of
gonna ask
Ohio.
about that. I was gonna ask if that's the same year they were coming. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, both
Is it
just scheduled to come in.
the third commitment for next year for Coach
Yeah,
Walls?
and Nyla Harris is also on board as well, and she's a like a 6'2" or 6'3" wing or forward that does some really good things as well. So all three girls so far for this class of 22, 6'2" or taller, can play multiple positions, and I'm very excited about Alexa Mobley. I think she's just going to be incredible here, but I'm really, really excited to see what Amani Lester can do as well.
Yeah.
But it should
Excited to
be a
get
lot
some
of fun
size
for
under the
us.
basket. And I really feel like I got to shout out Jared's comment. Impact Yorkie needs to be put on a shirt.
Let's
That's
do it.
hilarious, and that needs to stick in the women's basketball world.
I just Jeff and I came up with the term years ago though when we were talking about smaller, diminutive players that
Ooh,
played
fight
for
at
the
your
club.
ankles.
Exactly like I think who was our original? Was it
Shelby Harper.
Jeff? Yeah, Shelby Harper. That's
Shelby
right, was
Harper,
Yeah.
14 national runner-up team.
yeah, but I don't know if we've got anybody that's under 5'6" on this roster coming in this year. So we may have to reevaluate the standards here and go a
I
little
also wanted to shout
taller.
out Coach Walls on his ability to make these relationships with players. I don't know exactly when he started getting in contact with Lester, but just following the Peyton recruiting and them sharing the picture of her as like an 8th grader
Yeah.
in the Louisville camp shirt with Coach Walls, which Coach Walls obviously has aged since that picture, and him keeping that relationship with her for, I would say, at least 5 or 6 years, and now she's here. It's just really important, and I can't wait to see who Coach Walls is currently recruiting. Like, he's probably talking to the class of 2027 recruits right now.
I have no doubt about it. Coach Walls likes to start in them as early as possible.
Which is
Build
why
that
when the
relationship.
coaching carousel rumors come around, I'm just thinking, Coach Walls he's working for the year 2027 right now. So, I mean, for somebody to come in and try to snag a coach like him, it would take a lot to do because of the relationships he's built for years in advance.
Yeah, coaches do tend to gravitate toward those great relationships, and that's going to kind of segue perfectly into my next
Oh,
topic
I was
here,
gonna say,
Coach.
don't say great relationship and then go into the key store.
Who did who has had some
But you went there.
risen about this relationship with the players that he has had underneath his reign of terror, his coaching career up at Syracuse. Yes, we are talking about CeeLo Green, Quentin Hillsman, Coach Q, whatever you want to call him right now. They're not calling him too many good things up in Syracuse right now. God, this is just a story that just continues to unfold a little bit here, doesn't it, Jared?
Yeah, we're still waiting on all the facts and investigations to go through. So right now we're kind of still looking at the he said, she said, but at this point, when you're seeing roughly a dozen players, and not from just this year, but also in some past years, accused a coach of some inappropriate conduct and bullying, I mean, it's really hard to ignore those allegations, because at this point it's hard to, I guess, fall on the side of Coach Q right now. I don't really want to take a stance left or right on this yet until we do have all the facts, but for Coach Q, it does sound like the evidence is strongly against him at this point. And after the end of the investigation, if it does turn out that all these accusations are true, then, I mean, he deserves to get fired, and he should not be holding another coaching position within the NCAA, because that's not how you treat your players. And some of the verbal insults that he gave towards them is just, I mean, it's extreme. It's one thing to, kind of chew out your player when they're not listening to you during a game or during practice and be like, that's not what I freaking told you to do. I mean, that's a little different than, what I'm thinking.
Not
What
gonna
was it?
give you
Something like,
water.
yeah, some of the insults and verbal attacks he threw, that's just not all right. And mistreatment of players, and we've seen that unfortunately with some UofL coach in the past. It's not going to fly. These aren't little toys that you're playing with that you can just abuse and disrespect. I mean, these are humans that you're dealing with here. You got to treat them with respect, and you got to understand that people make mistakes, and you got to work with them and not completely chew them out and only have negative interactions with them. It's not going to go well. So I'm still going to sit back and wait to really give a true, this is what I want to happen, until we get the investigation. But once they do, then I can go on and give a more accurate, just, I guess, opinion on it.
And Jeff, Syracuse University has hired an outside law firm
Mhm.
to come in and do the investigatory work on this. But when players come out and state that they've had to seek guidance counseling, that they've had thoughts of depression and suicide over a coach's action, that they've personally witnessed a coach with inappropriate fondling of a player, a student athlete, and then trying to pass it off as a joke. These are all very, very scary things to me when I think of the sacred trust that is supposed to go in coaching and student athletes. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's been a lot of stories in various athletics fields over treatment of athletes. You go back to the gymnasts with USA Gymnastics, and as well as Michigan, unfortunately. Um, it's it's getting more attention, which is good, shedding some light on a problem that needs to be fixed, and hopefully it will. You'll start getting people that will start. If they lack a fundamental sense of right and wrong that controls them, at least maybe they're gonna avoid, hey, if I do this, I'm gonna get caught and gonna get embarrassed in public. I don't know. I mean, it's sad that that's what it takes for some people versus just having a fundamental understanding of respect for right and wrong, respect for other people, and them their personhood. Um, yeah, it's frustrating.
Daryl, let's make you the athletic director right now at Syracuse. Give you a couple extra buttons to push up there. What do you do here? Do you take Q aside and just sit him over here on the, sidelines and say, you're not doing anything until this is done? Do you let him continue operations as normal? Do you just go ahead and throw the baby out with the bathwater and terminate him? How do you handle this?
Oh no, I stop immediately. I'm sitting here Googling who Syracuse has in their recruiting class coming in because I'm curious. Has anyone heard if what who's coming in? Because so many people are leaving. I'd be really surprised if anybody's going to come into this situation. I know parents are probably concerned too. And this is just still blows my mind because I thought Syracuse was poised to, win a national championship soon. They were a really scary team. And just to have all this unfold in the last couple months is kind of still a shocker. I'm glad we got one of the players out of there, but we're still worried about the mental health of these players. That's the forefront concern. And yeah,
And
I'm taking Q out of all operations. We'll put the assistant coach in charge unless we've heard of anything related to their type of coaching as well. Um, but yeah, I'd be concerned about the future more so than anything right now, and I'd get him out of there before any more damage is done.
I have to agree with that. I think that I know I would love to be able to, although I'm sure there's no way in God's great earth and heavens that U of L would allow us to have a sit down and talk with Emily Engstler, and she probably wouldn't even want to do it to
No,
outline
I would
and
say don't talk
detail
about it.
the experiences that she had at Syracuse prior to coming here. Okay, but there's curiosity there anyway. But when I looked at the Syracuse team coming up next year, before all this happened, I said, "My God, they've got Cardoso back at 6'7". She was the ACC Rookie of the Year. They've got Kiera Lewis coming back, the leading scorer on the team. They've got Aisler, and I was very, very, very afraid of what Syracuse might be able to do in conference play against us. Okay, they got some talent. They had some talent. Then boom, all of a sudden, call what you will, the rug's pulled out from underneath the person standing in the living room, and now
Yep.
we wait and see. A sad thing indeed. But all right, we have covered some great things today. It, but I think it's time for us to go ahead and now test our knowledge in a different direction as we go toward the Cardinal couple quiz for this Saturday. If you're listening for the first time and you'd like to play along, we ask our contestants a series of 10 questions, and then we ask them a bonus question. Each question is worth 10 points. Daryl's already told me her dog is going to take part two. I'll put another column here for Daryl's dog barking.
He has
And
opinions.
if you get the yes, if you get the question right, you get 10 points. If you don't, you get no points. You can choose to take the bonus or not. You get 20 points on the bonus if you get it right. You lose 20 points if you miss the bonus. Jared, who has been the New York Yankees, UConn Huskies, the champion of this quiz in past weeks, has stiff competition today coming up from Jeff and Daryl, as our quiz today is going to be about coaches.
Oh
That's right.
boy.
Coaches, indeed. Coaches that are at U of L and coaches at schools that have played U of L women's athletics for the past year or so. So, contestants, get yourselves ready to go. The coaches quiz will now begin. Question number one. I am the head coach at Duke women's basketball. Who am I? Am I Jen Hoover, Kara Lawson, Quentin Hilsman, or Courtney Banghart? The head coach at Duke women's basketball. Daryl, you'll go first for the first part of the quiz. Which one of these four is coaching Duke?
It's Kara. Don't need any multiple choice.
She's going with Kara right off the bat. Jared, is she right about this? Or
Oh, yeah,
do you
there's
like
no
some of these
question.
others?
Before you even read off
Okay.
the names, I knew it was
Yeah.
Kara.
Well, Jeff is giggling in the background. I'm thinking he's probably going with Kara as well.
Yep, for sure. Kara Lawson, and,
Okay.
and eventually she's going to get to play a full season. So,
Yeah. A big move and a bold move by Duke. You just got to wonder how it's going to work out for him. It was enough to get two ex-Cardinals down there. We'll see what kind of luck she has. If you're playing at home, it is B, Kara Lawson. Question number two. I am a Cardinal women's basketball coach, and I'm from Atlanta. Atlanta's where I'm from. Am I A, Beth Burns, B, Sam Purcell, C, Janisha Pineda, or D, Steph Norman? Which one of these are from Atlanta, Daryl? Burns, Purcell, Pineda, or Norman?
I'm gonna say Pineda because I don't know.
Okay, she's going with the girl she doesn't know much about. That's her answer. Jared, any one of these four? Burns, Purcell, Pineda, or Norman?
Based off her assistant coach history, I'm going to go with Pineda, but I'm not sure where she's originally from, but I'm going with Pineda.
Okay, two lukewarm answers so far. Jeff, can you add any clarity and light to this?
it's still going to be a little bit lukewarm. I do believe that Purcell is from Georgia, but I don't think he's from Atlanta. So I think I'm going to go with Pineda as well.
But he's jumping on the Coach JP bandwagon here, and that is correct.
Woo!
You all got the guests right. Purcell is from Dalton, Georgia.
Dalton, okay.
Good guess there.
So I was right. Okay, he was from Georgia. All right.
Steph Norman, of course, had Oregon backgrounds, and Beth Burns has been a little bit everywhere. Came to us though from Southern California area. So
Jeff's looking for
C.
bonus.
Jeff wants extra
He's
points on
explaining
that.
my
You won't get
logic a
denied,
little.
though. You're getting as bad as Jared in that aspect. Okay. Question number 3. Which school did Jeff Walls not previously coach at? I'm going to give you 4 schools. I want you to tell me which school he never coached at as a coach. A, Maryland. B, Minnesota. C, Nebraska. Or D, Iowa. Which one of these 4 schools did Walls not coach at, Daryl?
I'm gonna
Maryland,
say Iowa.
Minnesota? She's going Iowa right off the bat. No hesitation there. All right, Jared, does that make any sense? Or do you like one of these others better?
I was able to knock 2 of them out, boom, boom, real quickly. Iowa's one of them that was still on my list of possible answers. So I am going to go on and stick with Iowa because I just don't remember Walls being in that Midwest area before coming here.
Okay. The logic works for Jared.
But you're
He's
gonna
going
leave
Iowa,
Minnesota on there?
Well, I'm thinking
Nebraska?
Minnesota's more northern.
Nebraska?
There's a little bit of flaw to Jared's
Yeah.
logic. Of course.
I'm not following the logic. I don't know any better, but I'm like you. I've eliminated Maryland. I'm
Well,
gonna.
let me know the Nebraska.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Jared needs a geography lesson more than anything right
I
now.
know, right?
Okay, good.
holiday weekend.
I may get this wrong, but I think I'm gonna go with Minnesota as the answer.
He's going gold and go for Minnesota. Okay, so we got one different answer between what Daryl and Jared came up with. Jeff Walls was at Nebraska from 1997 to 2001. Of course, he came to us from Maryland, so that's an incorrect answer.
Yeah, I knew that.
He was the head coach at Minnesota
Was.
from 2001 to 2002. Iowa was what I was looking for. Iowa. Coach Walls was never a Hawkeye, so
Just can't picture him in that black and gold. Just can't do it.
have a hard time seeing him roll through the cornfields waving to people.
He loves the red.
That's right. All right, so we have now only 2 people left with perfect scores. As this time we will move to Jared to answer first for question number 4, followed by Jeff and then Daryl. Jared, Jeff, and then Daryl will be our order of answer. Question number 4, Jared, is: I spent my time raising canes. I sure did. I spent my time raising canes. Who am I? Am I A, Katie Meyer, B, Shay Ralph, C, Adea Barnes, or D, Sue Semmerow? Which one of these spent their time raising canes?
Oh goodness. It's not.
What is this
Seuss-
question even asking? Like, what?
Who can understand the mind of Polly, which is a little scary.
Based off what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure she had hit a milestone victory like right before after they played us. I'm pretty sure it's Katie Meyer.
He's going with Katie the lady for his answer here. Steph, who spent their time raising canes?
Can you run through the options again?
Yes, we've got Katie Meyer, we've got Shay Ralph, we've got Adea Barnes, we also have Sue Semmerow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Katie Meyer as well.
Okay, he's going with Katie the lady as well. Daryl, who was completely confused by the question, you still have 4 options, regardless of what type of logic you want to apply toward it, Daryl. We spent their time raising canes.
Third. I'm glad I'm third on this one. Let y'all talk this out, but you all gave me nothing.
Yeah, I almost started explaining. Like, nope.
I was waiting for it. I don't know what they're asking. Or is this somebody that eats a lot of chicken, or they raise some animal? And then the options doesn't help me either. So I'm cheating off Jared's answer and going Katie.
Okay, Katie Meyer for all 3 contestants. Raising canes is a kind of colloquial reference to the Miami Hurricanes, that ACC
Okay.
school, which has a women's basketball program down there. And the head coach of that program, the one who is raising these young Canes up, is Katie Meyer, of course. A is the correct answer. Katie Meyer, head coach at the Miami
One day, Paul, we
Hurricanes.
will quiz you, and it will not be easy. We'll have all four of us coming at you.
She just hit the 300 win mark this past season. I knew she hit a milestone while
Yeah.
she was there.
Yeah.
And she's raised some pretty good Canes down there, too. Some very good ball players.
Yeah.
Katie, a very good coach. Don't ask me, ask Sebastian Iabus, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
We'll go to question number 5 now. Pittsburgh was my previous venue. Who am I? Am I Justine Sowery, Karen Ferguson Days, Holly April, or Scott Teeter? Who was at Pittsburgh before they came here? Jared, the answer goes to you. You're first.
Yeah, I was immediately thinking on the question alone. I was like, man, we're starting to women's basketball on this one. I don't know. And then you read off the names, and it was a big giveaway. Holly April.
He's going with Holly April, previous Pittsburgh. Jeff, you've got 3 other options beside her: Teeter, Ferguson Days, or Justine Sowery.
Holly April came down the river and from another ACC school and joined us in softball just a few years ago. So, yep, Holly April.
Daryl riding in that enviable 3rd spot to listen to these guys explain away the answers. Which way would you like to go, Daryl?
I didn't need Jared and Jeff to explain on this one. As soon as you read the answer, it was Holly.
Button pushing wins.
That's right. She didn't have to push many buttons on that one. She just listened. Holly April, of course, was the head coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers softball team and had some successes up there in her latter years before getting the call from Vince Tyree to come to Louisville. And we've been certainly happy to have her here. She said it was her dream job the first time she ever came here as a Pittsburgh coach. She vowed that someday she would coach here. Pretty cool. And now she's got that job. Okay, question number 6. I am the new assistant coach for Louisville women's soccer. By golly, they just named me.
Ugh.
Who am I? Am I Nick Curran, Nick Sturrett, Nick Evans, or Nick Castellanos? Who is the new assistant coach for Louisville women's soccer? And this will be your final time to go first. Jared, what's your answer?
As much as I would love to see Nick Curran coaching women's soccer, I'm trying to remember the last name when you had mentioned it earlier this week in the article, and I think it was Nick Sturrett.
He's going to go with B, Nick Sturrett. Jeff, those choices: Nick Curran, Nick Sturrett, Nick Evans, or Nick Castellanos. He's our new assistant coach.
Yep. I'm going to go with Nick Sturrett.
Okay, he's going with Nick Sturrett as well. Daryl, could it be Nick Evans? Could it be Nick
I
Curran?
was gonna say, I saw Nick Curran and Nick Evans this past week. I feel like they would have mentioned that to me if they were coaching the soccer team.
Nick
So
Castellanos?
that leaves 2 options, and I feel like the 4th option is way too close to Nick Castellanos, who plays for the Reds. So I'm gonna go with Sturrett.
And I did pronounce his name, but that's right. D is a 3rd baseman outfielder. Very good player for Cincinnati Reds up there, Nick Castellanos. It is Nick Sturrett, the correct answer. B. Nick Curran, of course, the wonderful play-by-play announcer for Louisville women's basketball. And Nick Evans, the guy who always shoots me down on anything I want to do interview-wise. No, I'm not. He's the assistant SID for women's basketball, lacrosse, and women's soccer. So it is correct, Nick Sturrett. Good job, gang.
Nick Curran's soon to be dad too.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Cool.
right. She's moving right along. And a nervous papa probably watch the baby pop when he's on a road trip somewhere. It would be
Is
just
that-
so horrible for him.
Are we going to get play-by-play coverage of this? I mean,
Oh,
Play-by-play coverage? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be doing color commentary. That's
No.
Ooh.
Ew. I'm sure his mom or the mom would oppose that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I can't blame her.
Yeah, and he's the guy who Nick Kearns even tried to interview Buddy Bat before, which was hilarious. He said it didn't go well.
Yeah, imagine.
We will roll into question number 7. And this time, Jeff, you will be starting things out. Daryl, you'll move to second on the answers, and Jared will be last. Question number 7. This coach was a 2-time World Cup gold medalist, by golly. 2-time World Cup gold medalist. Was it Danny Busboom Kelly, Scott Teeter, Holly April, or Justine Sowry? Which one of these coaches, Jeff, a 2-time World Cup gold medalist?
I think only 2 of the sports represented there actually have a World Cup. I think. Don't quote me on that. And I think it's Justine Sowry.
Just going to go with Coach Sowry. Daryl, 4 good coaches there. Busboom, Kelly, Teeter, April, and Sowry. Which one was the 2-time World Cup gold medalist?
Yeah, I was actually thinking this was going to be a swim coach before you read the options, so now I actually have to pick one. So I was thinking it had to be Sowry as well, and probably for another country. Is that right? You can let me know after.
I will. Sowry's going to be her guess. Jared, in the catbird seat here, you've got 2 answers that are the same. You're going to go elsewhere?
Oh no, I'm in agreement. The way Jeff worded it is right that the answer was actually in the question itself when you said World Cup, and then the answers you gave. Not many of those sports have World Cups. It is Justine Sowry.
Nice.
And it was not with the United States, by the way.
It would have been Australia.
Yeah, that's correct. She did it when she was down there with the Australian national team. That is correct. A very good goalkeeper by all rights was Justine Sowry. And has certainly been able to have some very good goalkeepers under her steed as a head coach. Maybe one that people might remember named McFerrin. I don't know. She was pretty good.
I will say my logic was pretty off there. There are actually 3 of those sports seem to have a World Cup, and one of them that I thought doesn't. So, from what I can research real quickly, I was thinking field hockey. I was thinking field hockey and lacrosse, but lacrosse doesn't seem to have one. And volleyball and softball do.
I was thinking lacrosse. I did not know softball had a World Cup.
Yeah, volleyball does too. I didn't know that.
Weird.
Yeah.
And softball hasn't been in for a while, has it?
Danny was a very good volleyball.
She was good. Yeah. I don't know if she ever played internationally though. So.
All right. Question number 7. Perfecto for all of them. Sounds we only wrong answer out of Daryl and Jared are tied at 70, Jeff at 60 as we go into question 8. Question number 8 is, I took over from Addie. I took over from Addie. Am I Kyra Elsie? Am I Carmen Whitaker? Am I Nia Butts? Or am I Kelly Harper? Jeff, who took over from Addie?
Ugh, can you go through those again a little slower?
Jeff's Googling who Maddie is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh!
Kyra Elsie.
Okay.
Carmen Whitaker, Nia Butts, or Kelly Harper?
Yeah, A is the answer there. Yeah. It did take me a minute to figure out who Maddie was, yes.
He's going with A, Kyra Elsie. I'll go to Jerry. Which one of these took over from Maddie? Elsie, Whitaker, Butts, or Harper?
Still have no idea who Maddie is. A was not going to be my answer. So, I mean, I was going to say B, C, or D, which according to Jeff is going to be wrong. So I'll go with the option D.
B or D, I'm sorry.
D is in dog.
Oh, D is in dog. Okay, you're going to go
Like
with
Daryl's
Kelly
dog.
Harper. Daryl's dog took over from Maddie. Haven't heard Daryl's dog answer yet. Okay, Daryl, you're in the catbird seat.
He's waiting to hear his name so he can answer. So
Well,
just give me a shout out.
maybe in the bonus round.
Yeah.
See if we can get 20 points.
So I was gonna say D too, but Jeff said A, and now I'm just gonna pick one of those. I don't know who Maddie is. I don't know who any of these people are. And this is gonna be the tiebreaker, isn't it? What's the middle two again? B and C.
You've got Kyra LZA, Carmen Whitaker, B, Naira Butts, C, and Kelly Harper, D.
I'm gonna go with my gut, which was D.
Does it
We're going to go with D,
Does-
Kelly Harper.
help to know that Maddie is Matty as opposed to Maddy?
Absolutely not.
Maddie was a nickname that we had for Matthew Mitchell, the former head coach at
Oh my god.
Kentucky.
It took me a minute to get it. It really did.
We called him Maddie, and Kelly Harper is down at Tennessee now, the head coach down there.
Dang it!
Nice.
I knew it should go off, Jeff. Thanks,
Nia
Jared.
Butts, an assist.
I straight up said I had no idea.
Carmen Whitaker at NKU, doing a fine job up there with the Norse. It was indeed Kyra Elzy. I think you know her. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Kyra Elzy. Jeff, the only one to score correctly on that question. Daryl is holding
Woo.
the grudge right now.
Very
As-
upset. Could have taken the lead.
We
What a
have
part.
a three-way tie
Man.
for first place. As we go into question number 9, Jeff, this will be your final time to go first that we know of. Maybe, possibly, if you're still in the lead, it could happen again. Question number 9 is, I like everything to be on par. I like everything to be on par. Who am I? Arthur Albero, Whitney Wade Young, Derek Copeland, or Mark Beckham?
I believe that is Whitney Wade Young.
And to go with Whitney Wade Young is liking things to be on par. Daryl, we've got some fine coaches there. Arthur Albero, Whitney Wade Young, Derek Copeland, and Mark Beckham. Who likes everything to be on par?
I'm sure they like birdies better, but I'm gonna say B.
Gonna go with Whitney Young as well. Jared, are they right here?
No disagreement from me, as the others I believe were swim, rowing, and women's tennis, if I remember correctly.
And he does nail that correctly.
Mhm.
Yes. Whitney Wade Young, head coach of Louisville women's golf. She likes it when things are on par with her golfers out on the golf course. But as was mentioned, birdies are even better sometimes. So. But, okay, we're still tied going into question number 10 here. This is a barn burner. I know that Daryl's dog is probably faint with excitement, and Sonia's turned up the TV to show her appreciation. Okay. Question 10. I
I
have
hope my computer
21
doesn't
years.
die.
I hope not, too. That'd be horrible. I have 21 years of head coaching experience. 21 years of head coaching experience. Who am I? Am I Steph Norman? Am I Katie Morissette? Am I Beth Burns? Or am I Michelle Clark Hurd? Who has got 21 years of head coaching experience? Jared will go first.
Man, the one I was hoping
Right?
you were gonna say was on list.
Right?
Like, it could be-
They're a curveball there.
Because I was thinking Karen Ferguson Davis.
Yeah.
So yeah, you threw me off there.
I think she actually has more than that, though.
Captain Obvious is not in the building.
Yeah.
No.
Could we go through the list of names again? Because I wasn't listening to the other names.
No. Jared's lack of attention is yet costing us more time. I have 21 years of head coaching experience. Am I Steph Norman, Kay Morissette, Beth Burns, or Michelle Clark Hurd?
I'm gonna go on and go with Beth Burns.
Jared, grab your number C, Beth Burns. Does that make any sense to you, Jeff, or are you going to go in a different direction?
Yeah, it's. I didn't really know all that much about her history. I know it's extensive and by process of elimination as well. Yes, Beth Burns.
Okay.
Same here.
Daryl in agreement with him. Daryl's dog nodded his head yes too, I think. Okay. Steph Norman, of course, has quite a few years of coaching, but none of them as a head coach. Kane Moore said invaluable assistant coach for lacrosse, has not been a head coach either. Michelle Clark Hurd does have 11 years as a head coach at 2 different locations. Beth Burns is what I was looking for. That's right. Her long
Nice.
term at San Diego State out there, coaching the Aztecs, and had quite a bit of success. So we go into the bonus round completely tied up here. All three contestants at 90 points as we go into the bonus round. Daryl, will you take the bonus question?
Sure.
Daryl says
If my
yes.
computer will stay alive for it.
Jared, will you take the bonus?
Yeah, because I know Jeff's gonna take it too, so all three of us have to go on for the bonus here.
Yeah.
All three in for the bonus then? All three are in for the bonus. Your bonus question is, my daughters are Reese, Riley, and Reagan. Who am I? I've got 3 daughters. They're Reese, Riley, and Reagan. Am I Karen Ferguson Days? Am I Scott Teeter? Am I Danny Busbooth Kelly? Or am I Sam Purcell? Jeff, which one of these?
Yep. I'm gonna say Sam Purcell.
He's going to go D. Coach Purcell. Coach B. Daryl, you've got 4 good
Yeah,
coaches.
before you even gave me the options, I was thinking Sam. I know he's got 3 girls.
He's taking the R's. Jared, a chance to separate from the pack, or are you going to go with Coach Purcell also?
I don't know of any other coaches that have 3 daughters, because I'm thinking Teeter's got a son and a daughter in the mix, and the other 2, I don't think either of them had 3 daughters, so I'm going to stand in agreement with Jeff and Daryl.
They all go D, Sam Purcell, and they all are correct. It is right. Sam Purcell. So we end up with a 3-way tie for the quiz this week, guys. How about this?
Yeah.
Huh?
Wow.
Love it.
And hopefully you did as well at home. Certainly let us know in the comments section of the Cardinal Couple if you had fun with this quiz and how well you did on it. Case is probably sitting on the banks of the Ohio cursing because he came in second.
I think he came in last if he
Yeah.
was coming first.
First or fourth,
That is
one or
right.
the other. Yeah.
There is no first or last in quizzes. All get participation trophies. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and roll into final thoughts real quickly here. Got some time to do that. Jeff, why don't you start us out on final thoughts this week?
Oh goodness. I don't really have anything in particular. Enjoy the weekend. Long weekend for most people. I had the bonus of having yesterday off as well, which was nice. Yeah, enjoy the weekend. Don't blow any fingers off. Stop shooting off fireworks at a reasonable time so you don't bother people trying to sleep. Yeah.
There you go. Some words of precaution from
Yeah.
Jeff McAdams on his final thoughts. Fingers are good. Keep as many as you can.
Yeah.
Daryl, final thoughts.
Yeah, quick wrapping up here too before my computer does and my dog pees all over himself. Same, just, be smart with the fireworks. I know when I took him out to go to the bathroom last night, it sounded like fireworks were not really getting off the ground before they were exploding, which I can understand why people with PTSD would not like this holiday. So just be smart, be courteous, and don't blow your fingers off.
There you go. Emergency rooms do not need your business. Keep all your fingers intact. Jared, final thoughts, sir.
Yeah, not wanting to rush through this nice long holiday weekend and get back to work quite yet, but looking forward to July 8th, as UofL will take over the ACC Network channel all day that day, and lots of highlights and reruns beginning at 1 a.m. and the last event show starting at 10:30 that night. So that'll be a nice UofL day on ACC Network Thursday, July 8th. Go on and mark your calendars. Thursday, July 8th.
There you
right?
go. I believe it was Clemson's day today to take over the network, if I'm not mistaken on that. So we'll get our chance on the 8th to do it. Should be a lot of fun, Daryl. I'm sure you'll be busy that day, maybe down there doing some things. Maybe not.
I would think they would.
No, I think that all that's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, no button pushing for you then. Final thoughts out of me here. We touched on it just briefly earlier, but I would like to welcome Allison Daly to Louisville Lacrosse as an assistant head coach to join up with Kay Morissette and, of course, Scott Teeter down there. She was the head coach at Canisius, where Scott came from before taking this job, coming in to give the Cards some added expertise on the defensive side of things, where she did quite well up there under Teeter's tutelage and also on her own. This is nice because the Cards were actually an assistant short last year for most of the season. So it's good to be back to full strength. I know Scott is excited about Allison Daly coming in, and certainly we'll be happy to see her on the sidelines. So congratulations and welcome to the Ville, Allison. And that will do it for this week. Certainly a fun show, and we'll be happy to see everybody in here next week if you know something we don't. Until then, have a great 4th weekend. We'll see you later.